Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by TheLines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we've got some looks here for another 10 games in the NBA on Wednesday. We have 11 teams that are on the second night of a back-to-back. So still waiting on a ton of injury news. Probably not going to get all the props you guys want either until later in the afternoon. So just keep all that in mind. Working with what we've got here for you guys. We've got some best bets, some sides and totals looks here in this episode for you. We've also got player props up in the other episode. Bringing both of those to you each and every weekday. So make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Continue to follow along all season and postseason, I should say, as we get into the playoffs next week. Also want to make sure you do subscribe to the newsletter. The link is in the description of the video. Once you're signed up, you'll get that every Friday. Really nice way to just stay on top of all the sports betting news in the world that you need to stay on top of to make those bets. We've also got a little bonus play in there. Nate and myself bringing you guys a bonus parlay pick that we're bringing you each Friday. So make sure you check out that link in the description of the video. Nate, I had a brutal day yesterday, so let's try to turn this around and get back into the winning ways here on Wednesday night with your first best bet.
Yeah, the number one best bet has hit for me at a pretty consistent rate over the last couple weeks. I'm not going to shy away from the big matchup here. I will take the Lakers. The way I'm betting it is just Lakers money line and Austin Reeves keep doing his thing. 18 plus points gets you plus 120 for Reeves. If you're on a book where you have to go 20 plus to get that parlay, that seems fine with me too. I mean, basically every team that doesn't have an elite defense has not been able to hold AR below 20 in the last couple weeks. He's been a machine. And then you look at the back-to-back numbers for him. Last four back-to-backs, 31.8 points, 7.3 assists, playing nearly 40 minutes a game with a 30% usage rate. So even though the Lakers, I don't feel like they're in a tough spot here on the back-to-back because they kind of pulled everybody in the fourth quarter last night when Luka got ejected and when they saw the Thunder were just going to take that one. And they were like, nope, we'll look ahead to this next one. And JJ Redick, I trust to be completely locked in with the game plan and to be able to exploit this Dallas team, which just still isn't very good. And you think situationally, is this oh, well, remember when Jimmy went back to Miami and they were all fired up and the fans were behind them and they kicked the crap out of the Warriors? That's just not going to be this vibe, is it? I mean, will Dallas even be rooting for the Mavericks? How many just Luka fans are there going to be there who are we still love you? There was no bad blood. He did not force his way out of here. Anthony Davis might be a tryhard for sure. He's not fully healthy. PJ, will also have some time on Bron and Luka. And that's why I lean toward Austin Reeves because he gets the third best defender, which is not a good defender. He'll get plenty of opportunities on Clay, on Spencer Dinwiddie, to just cook this Mavs defense that's gone from being very vulnerable on the interior to the perimeter since AD's come back consistently. We're talking sixth worst field goal percentage, seventh worst 3-point percentage, fourth worst fast break points. And the reason I don't think they're going to win is a pretty simple algorithm here. They are 0-8 straight up against any team in the West in the playoff picture since the All-Star break. 1-7 ATS with a combined minus 97 differential against the spread. And the Lakers have put up 128 their last two after a loss. So that's what I'm saying with JJ just being so competitive that I assume they will bounce right back and be look, we really need this game. And no way they lose it.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that's the case too. I'm staying away. I'll be honest, I'm just a complete stay away because I got just upended yesterday when they played everybody against OKC. I was ready for them to just go, why would we try to win this game? We can clearly beat Dallas. But they went for it. They had a great game. Luka is the Thunder whisperer. That dude owns the Thunder. So I'm sure they as long as they have him out there, they felt good about it. But to your point, now they've got a little bit more rest. It's not a total back-to-back once they did pull everyone, which would indicate that they're bringing it for this game. Maybe a little AD overs with a Lakers win as well. You get a little negative correlation. I think there's some ways to play with that too, because I think AD is the guy who has the number one revenge narrative outside of the Dallas Mavericks fans have the number one revenge narrative. But let's go to my first pick here and talk about preview here, probably right, of that first play-in tournament game, 9 versus 10 in the Eastern Conference. Bulls Heat. I'm gonna take the Heat. Famous last words for me whenever I talk about Miami, but I'm gonna take the Heat minus 1.5 here, and take them to cover. They've been good. I want to put caveats on it. They've just been good. They have. In the last 10 games, they have the third best net rating in the league. They played some easier competition. Definitely had some get right games. I'll say that. But this feels like one of them too. We don't have the injury report, I believe, for Chicago right now. We're still waiting on their news. And then for Miami here, we know that they are going to probably be with everybody except for maybe Wiggins. But that's really what I'm banking on here, is like the only guy questionable is Wiggins. And so if we have a fully loaded Heat squad, we're talking about Bam, Hero, Ware, Davion Mitchell. Duncan has been very, very good over the course of the last week or two as well. He's available. So those guys are the ones that I'm keying in on. Andrew Wiggins is huge for this team. He's way more important to this team than he might have ever been even to the Dubs, even in their championship run, if the Heat are going to go anywhere and make it into the actual playoffs. But if you look at the way that they've been winning, they're back to Heat ball, man. I mean, they're third in defensive rating over their last 10, and they're back to shutting things down low, which is huge for them. They're back to the third best defensive field goal percentage inside the paint. They're still a little bit weak around the rim, but they are back up into the top 15 at least in terms of limiting points inside of 5 feet at the rim. Khalil Ware playing center, Bam playing power forward has worked really well. And it's also just shut down the mid-range for anybody. Like Bam owns that part of the court now on defense. If you watch them play, anything from about 12 feet and to the 3-point line, that's his no man's land. So if you want to shoot from there, you're going to have a giant long arm in your face as you're trying to get it up. They're up to third best in terms of limiting mid-range as well. Not something you need necessarily need to worry about against this Chicago offense. Mostly you just want to make sure that you're getting back on defense, because they're still second best in a second highest frequency, I should say, in terms of getting out into transition. Miami, third best limiting transition attempts, limiting transition points. They're very efficient at doing that as well. So it's really just about not being able to get out and go. And Chicago is attacking the rim as well. So if you can limit the stuff at the rim, they are number 1 in their last 10 games in rim frequency for the Bulls. They are also have the third best paint field goal percentage. So they're getting into the paint. They're pretty efficient there. But again, this is a defense that has finally come back into its own for the Heat. So I think this thing stays under like 230, right? Like I think we're talking about like maybe like 225 or so, which definitely plays into the Heat's hands at this point. So I'm going to take them to be able to win a more defensive-minded battle, and one that would be great for them to just take into the play-in tournament to go, we know we can handle this team. Let's get that out of the way in this game right now.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think so, that there'd be a correlation here between Heat money line and the under, because they will muck it up. They will keep this out of semi-transition. They will try to slow down Josh Giddey, who triple-doubled against them and beat them, and Bulls have beaten them. And I am reminded of the Heat kind of like dropping these late regular season games and being like, we'll see you in the play-in. I mean, they have handled the Bulls twice each of the last 2 years, right? Beaten them by double digits in the play-in, but they have not handle business in the regular season. So for me, there's a bit of uncertainty. I will just say for the people, Josh had Wizards -1 in here before he switched at the last minute. And honestly, I don't think that's a bad bet. I think the Sixers will do everything they can to lose this game, to lose their game, and the Wiz, they'll be happy to back into a win. They've lost enough already.
Yeah, I'm going to explain myself real quick. One, by the way, that Chicago lost by double digits in the play-in, they were winning with 3 minutes to go, and then Jimmy took over. So that one wasn't even really the Heat dominating that game, but which doesn't help my cause here for the Heat. I just wanted to make clear that wasn't even really a double-digit game. The other thing I would just add there, too, for the Wiz is I just don't know if they're going to play. Like Grimes and Justin Edwards, the two best players on Philly right now, are both questionable. I don't have an injury report for Washington. If Poole and like somebody else misses, then it's really just a 50-50 shot. So I want to see if Poole is in there and like they have the normal guys. Then for Washington, I agree with you that they're a good -1. So
yeah, I don't know. I think a team full of Washington rookies can handle Ricky Council, a Ricky Council-led squad. If Quentin Grimes is not playing, the Sixers are certainly not winning a game right now.
Agreed.
But yeah, my second pick is to fade the Suns again, which worked out fabulously last night. I'll take the Thunder -9.5. You're getting a little bit of value here just because people are assuming OKC will sit some guys. If I will quickly point you to the last 2 times where they benched everyone in the starting lineup and were plus 26 net with a 95 defensive rating against, yes, Philly for one of those, but also Portland, a Portland team that's very hot and is legitimate. Jalen Williams, he had a triple-double in both games. So I'm fine with the OKC backups against the Suns, just like a complete lack of cohesion any sort of positive vibes. Like they're on a back to back as well here. So wouldn't be surprising if they sit. I mean, at least Beal will sit, which is probably a positive for the Suns at this point. But it's just Book. He's last man standing. His last three against OKC, 15 points per game, 96 offensive rating. He's a minus 84. He has gone 0 for 5 from three and is 32% from the field. Like he's going to get the absolute clamps on him right now. And I mean, if they couldn't even get up for a rivalry game against the Dubs, who they care a lot more about beating than OKC, not like you can just like care and compete with OKC. A lot of teams in this spot on the second leg of a back-to-back just wave the white flag against OKC. And as we talked about yesterday, the Suns waved the white flag about 6 games ago on their season. They have the worst defense in the league by far. Since then, particularly awful on 3-point percentage, assists, points off turnovers, the type of things you would need if you're OKC and you don't have the MVP SGA, right? It's just like, let's play some team basketball on offense, get good shots, and then defensively, we're going to post that 95 defensive rating no matter who we have, because that's just our identity. And their final 2 games are at Utah and NOLA, so those are more automatic wins. They need one more win, I believe, to completely clinch home court throughout to pass the Cavs, right? And make sure that they would have home court in the finals if that's the matchup. But it's more just like the Thunder. Yeah, I mean, the Suns, they're 34% cover rate as an underdog. They are 3-16 when they have any sort of rest disadvantage. And so, yeah, I don't trust them on a back-to-back at all. I think the Thunder minus 10 is good to go.
Yeah. I can't disagree. I almost just hope that the Thunder don't play anybody and we just have like Aaron Wiggins go for 25, 6, and 5. Like that sounds great. I tried to do that yesterday. I got freaking burned, man. I tried to play the backups for the Thunder and then everybody started for the Lakers and it didn't work out. So I'm going to wait for that injury report before I touch any of those props. But I think 9.5, like, hell, man, I mean, if we think that we're going to see some backups, it kind of feels like that's baked in almost to this matchup. Like, if the Dubs were 9.5-point favorites against the Suns, the Thunder are also 9.5-point favorites against the Suns. Like, I'm not buying it. It almost seems like they've already got it baked in that they're not going to see SGA. My point in saying that is, like, I don't know that we're going to get a much better number, right, once if guys are ruled out for OKC. So you might as well take this now. This isn't something that I think you need to wait for. Already got bet down from 12 to 9.5. So I'm with you on this one big time. Suns gave up a while ago. Even Book is not trying anymore. So yeah, let me go ahead and close out here with a Portland game between 2 teams that don't need it, but like one is just better than the other. So I'm taking Portland, who I definitely think is 6 points better than all of the backups for Utah. And it should be mentioned, even Isaiah Collier, the rook, is questionable to play in this one. So we're going to be seeing a lot of Bryce Sensabaugh. We're going to be seeing plenty of Flip and all that kind of stuff for Utah. But for Portland, the only guys that we don't know about are Simons and Avdia. 2 very important guys. I'm not going to poo-poo that by any means, but I still don't know that they need those guys with the sort of the players that they'll have out there have still led to them in the last 5 games where they've missed Avdia a couple times. They haven't had Scoot Henderson for a while now. Simons has also missed a couple of those games. Still 3rd in defensive rating, keeping the offense decent. Like it's like 18th over the course of their last 10, really dwindled even in their last 5 games. They've become just really a defensive minded team. And there's nothing to Utah. I don't know how to describe them to you. They're just a bunch of their backups. They're going to be Collier and Sexton doing what they want with some spot up shooters, including Filipowski, who's going to be like their big man and they're one of their spot up shooters. And for Portland, like that is fine for them. That's how they play well. They defend that stuff super well. They've been beating up on teams like the Spurs, the Raptors that had a good game against the Hawks. So like these bottom dwellers are still teams that the Blazers have made clear they're still well ahead of them in all of those areas. So I'm still expecting big things from Sharp. And then I think Klingon is going to have nobody to match him, right? Like you're going to probably see some Micah Potter on him, which is a big reason why this Jazz team, which was with Walker Kessler out there, is a top half of the league rebounding team, no question. Might even be top 10 rebounding if they have Collins and Markkanen and Kessler and everybody out there. Without those guys, they're a bottom 5 rebounding team, unquestionably. And the defense has been dead last completely bad for the last 10 games, 15 games. Like, just go back any amount of games recency that you'd like to look at. They're going to be dead last in offensive rating, and that defensive rating, and that offensive rating is nowhere near good enough to beat the third best defense in the league over the last 5 and 8 games, right? Like, it's just not close. Portland's getting a little bit undervalued here, in part because they're also just out of the playoffs and have nothing to play for. But the guys that are playing do have things to play for. Like, Shaedon Sharp's still looking for that big contract. Delano Blanton's looking for rotation minutes, who's also probably going to be starting in this thing. And then Donovan Clingan as well. Really important guys are going to be needing those minutes from them. So, I mean, there's not much here to tell you on offense that Portland is going to be able to score against Utah, other than that Utah is terrible. But on defense, like, I'm not really sure how Utah is going to get their points with the level of the players that they have out there. They're banking on, like, corner threes and spot up shots. That's like a lot of their offense right now. That ain't going to do it against this Portland defense.
Yeah, that's what I just saw. Is their last meeting back in February, Utah covered because they only lost by 2 because they had 3-point variance. They shot 41%, Portland shot 31%. So if that happens, that this might hit. But the law of averages show that Portland, brings it no matter who they're playing against. Chauncey Billups has established a culture there. Yeah. And they've won 10 straight against teams out of the playoff picture. That Utah game and only one other game have they failed to cover 2 against these teams. So they are handling business. They play hard every night, and that's something you certainly can't say about the Utah Jazz, which is just a joke at this point. Pretty much last in almost every metric you want to look up.
Yeah. And I thought we'd be talking about Chauncey Billups' hot seat, potentially, like, he's out of a job by this point in the season. He's at least got, like you said, that locker room in control. So, yeah, like, shout out Chauncey for maybe what could be a decent future for him in Portland. But that is all the time we have for you in this one. Definitely make sure to go ahead and subscribe to that channel. We've got player props up in a separate episode for you guys. And until we see you next, happy betting.